Hi everyone! So as you know, this week we've been working on translating phrases into variable expressions. And so when we started this week, we started filling out this organizer to make sure we had kind of all our keywords for the different operations organized in one place. And back when we started, we had skipped the parentheses, which were down here on the bottom. Because when we started off, we were doing phrases or expressions that just had one operation and no parentheses. But today, you're going to learn how to translate more complicated phrases. So these phrases and these expressions are going to have more than one operation, and some are going to involve parentheses. So the first thing we need to know, when I'm looking at parentheses, there's basically two main kind of keywords or key phrases that you'll be looking out for to know that an expression has parentheses. The first one, and I'm going to put it here, first one will be if I see the words times the sum of. And of course, we remember that sum is addition. So if I see times the sum of, I know that I'm going to have parentheses in my expression. The other one I'm also going to look out for is similar, but now it's times the difference of. And of course, difference is subtraction. So if I see times the sum of or times the difference of in my phrase, I know that my expression is going to need parentheses. So let's go ahead and look at some examples of the types we'll be working on in level 3 of your practice. So I'm going to flip back, and you'll see you have these notes. So translating words into more complex variable expressions. Right? So now our goal is still to be able to translate. We're changing from words into math. We're translating verbal phrases into expressions that are going to have more than one operation and possibly have parentheses. So again, we're looking out for those key words to know if it has parentheses. So before I set you loose on some of that level 3 challenge problems, we're going to take a look at a couple examples. So again, our direction we're still writing the phrase as a variable expression, and we're going to use x for the number. So I'm going to look at number 1. So I see here the sum of. So sum is going to tell me plus. So I have the sum of. Now I'm adding two things. I have the sum of 3 times a number. Well, I know I have multiplication there, so my 3 times a number is going to be 3x. And then the other thing that I'm adding is 5. So this would be 3x plus 5. And again, this is more complicated because here my 3x means I have multiplication. And then obviously my plus sign here, I have addition. So that's an example of a phrase that's going to give me an expression with two operations. Okay, now for number 2, I have the quotient of a number and 10. So let's see, I know that quotient is going to be my division. So I'm going to draw my fraction there. Now I know order is important here. So I have the quotient of a number. That comes first, so that's going to be on top. It's the quotient of a number and 10. So that's going to go on the bottom. Now, here, I'm going to take that quotient, and now I have decreased by. So that decreased by is going to turn into subtraction. And then finally, I have my number here. I'm decreasing that by 8. And so I have subtracting 8 here. Okay, so I have the quotient of a number and 10. That's the first piece. And I'm decreasing that by 8. So that's where my minus 8 comes in. So again, we have more than one operation. I have division. And I have subtraction. All right, here's where I would like you to pause the video and try number 3. And then when you think you've got it, unpause it, and I'll do it in the video so you can check your answer. Okay, so as I start to read here, the first thing I see is I have the difference of. So I know the difference is going to be subtraction. So I'm going to code that purple, difference of subtraction. Now again, with subtraction, order is really important. So my first thing here in my problem, it says the difference of 7. So that's going to come first. Now, it's the difference of 7 and 4 times a number. So here we're going to have multiplication, and we have 4x. So my answer should be 7 minus 4x. Okay, and so again, we're working with subtraction here, and then multiplication in my second piece here. Now, in 4 and 5, here's where we're going to start to see those new words that are going to mean parentheses. So when I look at 5, the first thing I notice is I have this times the sum of. So that tells me I'm going to have parentheses. Again, I have to have this whole thing times the sum of. And since I have sum, inside those parentheses, I'm going to have plus. So that times the sum of gives me the parentheses and the operation symbol, the plus sign here. So now I have to look. I have 5 times, so my 5 goes out front. Now inside, I see I have the sum of a number and 11. So I'm adding x plus 11. Okay, for my last one, again, I notice pretty quickly I'm going to have parentheses because what I see here is times the difference of. Now in this case, because I have times the difference of, I still have my parentheses, but difference tells me that subtraction goes inside. So now I look out front, I have 2 times the difference of, and now I have the difference of 8 and a number. And again, because subtraction, the order is important, I'm going to put them in my parentheses in the same order. So my 8 comes first, and a number or my x will come second. So with that, now you're going to go back to level 3 and see if you can try translating some of those more complicated phrases. Good luck!